Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great Sunday. I know we did. Had a lot of people watching the service and Sunday school. Just want to thank you guys for continuing to hone in and focus on this material we're putting out. And I pray that God is blessing your lives, even in the midst of all this trouble through that. So we're going to have a series of devotionals this week, like we've been having. But this week we're going to focus in on Easter. So today's the first one. It's for Monday, April 6th. And what we're going to do is kind of follow each day of the week, have a devotional on what Jesus did that day. So real quick, yesterday was Palm Sunday. That was the day that Jesus came in riding the colt. And people, did the hosannas and they laid down the palm leaves and all that stuff. And just, a couple of quick lessons from that. One that starts yesterday and kind of carries over. The main thing you see there is that even though the people thought Jesus was coming in as a Messianic, Davidic type king, he's really coming in and presenting himself as the Passover lamb. You see his humility riding the colt, which is how the king was supposed to travel during this time, during his processionals. It tells us in the law that. But you see the humility of Christ presented here. He doesn't try to make of himself any more than he is. He truly is the Passover lamb. Now today, Monday was the day that Jesus cleanses the temple. But before we get to that, I want to point out something that the book of Mark tells us in chapter 11, verse 11, that happened on Palm Sunday evening, that before Jesus went back home that night, or where he was staying, back in Bethany or Bethpage, I think, it says that he went into the temple and he looked around. So what that tells us is that what he does the next day, Monday, and he cleanses the temple, isn't something that he just decided to do as a whim. He already had it planned. He had looked around and seen what he needed to see. So if Jesus is processional and Palm Sunday riding in on the colt shows us his humility, what he does in the temple the next day shows us that he's not just someone to be pushed around, that he considers glorifying God's name as the most important thing. And, what he does, he, shows that he believes that in cleansing that temple. So Mark presents this whole scene very interestingly as Jesus comes back into Jerusalem the next day, would have been Monday. He comes upon a fig tree that's in leaf. But Jesus goes, it says it looks for fruit there, and there is no fruit, so he curses it. Now, a lot of talk about this and different things, but what it boils down to is a fig tree actually blooms fruit before it blooms its leaves, and they come out. So when you look at a fruit tree, even that early in the year, because it probably still would have been springtime, there should have, amongst all the leaves, there should have been some fruit on it. It might not have been that ripe, but it should have been there. So when Jesus looks at it, all he sees are all these leaves. It looks like it's doing its job. It looks like it's busy and it's growing, but in reality, there's no fruit to go along with it. So Jesus curses it. Then, of course, he goes into the temple, and the same thing's going on there. It looks very busy. There's tons of people in there buying and exchanging things. This is Passover week, so there would have been probably tens of thousands of people, in Jerusalem that weren't normally there coming to celebrate the Passover. So the temple and the fig tree have this much in common. They both look very busy. They both look as though they should be offering fruit, but in actuality, neither one of them does. And then when Jesus leaves that afternoon or that evening and they go back by the fig tree, it actually is honest now because the leaves are withered. There is no fruit, and even what appeared to be busy, the leaves are withered, showing the true state of Israel. So, just quickly to kind of keep this in mind, some things to think about as we go into this Easter week. Like I said, we'll have a different devotional and other activities through the week. Take some time this week. This is the week. A lot of times, maybe in the past, we thought, well, that seems very, Catholic-like to have the Holy Week and have each day set aside. But I think this is a year we can do this, Think about your humility. Where is that? What is God trying to show you? Or maybe you need to take a stand for God. Maybe that's another lesson you can take out of this. Or is your life so busy that all that anyone sees is the busyness and no fruit. So, just want to encourage you this week to listen to these devotionals, our Wednesday night lesson, and spend a little bit extra time thinking about Easter and what it means, because you have time. Tiger King will still be on there. Afterwards, Netflix isn't taking that down, so take the time to talk about this with yourself and your family if need be. Hey guys, thanks. We love you, and I look forward to seeing you more. Bye.